to embrace the new, changing, morphing you that you will become over the course of your fitness journey. Over the course of the fitness journey, there are a lot of different things that are going to happen to you and your body and how you look at yourself and the world around you. And I feel like these things are not talked about enough. I am in an industry, the fitness industry, where we want to motivate people and we want to talk about the results, right? The end game, the beautiful, wonderful, fit person you will feel like after your transformation. Okay? What we don't talk about enough, though, is the process and the journey of the transformation itself. And it is worth talking about because fitness goals do not happen overnight. They happen very, very slowly. Slower than we would like them, right? So it is important along that journey to appreciate the various steps along the way, and there are different shortcuts that we can take to get into the right mindset for our fitness journey. The very first one, if you are a person right now who's saying, "Yeah, I'm trying to get in the habit of doing the fitness thing. I'm trying to, but I'm not really a fitness person." If this is you, if you're saying to yourself like, "Yeah, I'm not an athlete. I'm not a fitness person. I know I should be eating healthier. I know I should be getting more exercise, eye roll, all that kind of thing." If that is you right now, if that's how you're feeling about it, the very first thing that I want to say to you is that from this moment forward, you are a fitness person. If you want this for yourself, don't say, "Well, I'm not fit yet, therefore." Tell yourself, number one, I am a fitness person. And then once we have identified ourselves and we say, "I am a fitness person," then we can begin to fill the shoes of the identity we have created for ourselves. When a butterfly, when a caterpillar goes to become a butterfly, first, they're munching and munching and munching, and then they form this shell around themselves. And the butterfly that they will become is not yet a thing. It's a concept, right? And during that cocooning phase, the entire caterpillar liquefies, right? It becomes nothing. It becomes nothing before it becomes something. In fact, the caterpillar's own immune system kind of attacks itself and liquefies itself in the cocoon, right? But first you have to build that cocoon. That cocoon, in this case, what I want you to think of that is the structure that you're going to fill out, right? We can think of what we will be beyond the cocoon, but for now, let's think about, okay, I am the fitness person, right? That is the structure I'm going to give for myself. And if I don't feel like I fill out that structure right now, I'm going to allow all of my current ways of viewing things, current ways of viewing myself, I'm going to let all of that just dissolve. I'm going to let it fall apart, and I'm going to let it reform into something that fills this out, fills the structure out, and then can burst through and beyond it, okay? Having a concept of what your current self is just as important, if not more important in some respects, than what your future self will be, right? So we talk a lot about, when we talk about goal setting, what do we want for our future self? What is the goal, the result that we're trying to achieve? These are very important questions to ask yourself and very important places to go to time travel mentally. You want to time travel to those places and imagine how you will feel as a stronger version of yourself, how you will feel as a more athletic version of yourself, all these things. You do want to mentally time travel to that point. But you also want to make a decision right now, today, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what you feel like, regardless of what your circumstances are, to say, I am, right now, today, this thing. My cat is scratching at the door. I will be right back. cat. Yeah. You're a pain in the butt. I told her before I started this live that I was going to close the door. And she ran away. But then she decided she wanted back in. So, for that, Kat, you will say hello to the audience, even though you do not like to be picked up and showed off. This is my cat. She is adorable, very fluffy, excellent paws, as you can see. And she is a pain in the butt. And she says, no, don't hold me. Okay. So being in that state of mind of, I am a fitness person. Now, once we have decided that, because we have a preconceived concept of what a fit person does, right? A fit person, do they miss their workout? No, they don't miss their workout. They get antsy if they miss their workout. They want to work out. What does a non-fitness person do? What if we're identifying with, I'm not a fitness person? Does that person miss their workout? Yeah, they do. They will often make decisions that are counter to the goals that you're trying to produce for yourself, to the results you're trying to produce for yourself. So it's very important that you decide ahead of time, I am a butterfly, I am a fitness person. And then it will be a painful process in some ways. There's going to be cognitive dissonance, they call it, right? That difference between action and or the current state of things and where we currently are, that distance feels painful. So our impetus then is to close the distance, right? And if we make a decision of, I am the fitness person, then the distance that we will want to close is going to be towards that. It's going to be forward progress. Whereas if we have this, I want to be a fitness person, but I'm not a fitness person, the distance can close the other direction, right? All of your good habits that you're trying to start come back to, I am not a fitness person, so I'm not going to do these things. You don't have to look a certain way to be a fitness person. If you are overweight right now, if you are older right now, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, right? Athletes come in all shapes and sizes, and all people, including athletes, go through dips and dives through the course of their training, where they will be more or less athletic. And so even if you're in a position where you're like, I've never been an athlete, I'm not there currently, nor could I even imagine it, try to associate yourself with the habits that you want to make for yourself. So that's my first tip. Identity, right? Identity will help you along the way. And it'll also help you ride those waves of the weird stuff your body will do along the way. I've helped guide a lot of folks through their fat loss journey specifically. That's one of the things a lot of people come to me for. I should mention, by the way, that number one, I consider myself a body positive coach in that if you come to me for fitness goals that are not fat loss related, even if you have a lot of fat that you could potentially lose, I am not going to be up your butt about it. You can pick whatever goal you want to pick, and if you're happy with having a lot of excess body fat and you don't feel compelled to lose that, I am not going to push you there. There's a lot of reasons why someone might want to remain fat, even if it is a higher health risk. And yes, we all know at this point, it is fact that having a higher body fat percentage is going to give you like higher risk for all-cause mortality. It is going to make a lot more things difficult. We know this. I know this as a coach, and I know there's a lot of coaches out there who say, well, if you know this, then why wouldn't you absolutely compel each and every person you work with to lose all the fat? And there's a lot of reasons that individuals might have. I will just give you my personal one reason why I have at various points in my life. I currently feel like I don't have this need, but when I was a younger woman, where I would get a lot of like catcalls, sexual harassment, that kind of thing, having that extra layer of fat was like a layer of protection, right? It kept me from being harassed sexually in public, which was something that made me feel very uncomfortable. And having that extra layer of fat was like a layer of protection. It protected me from, is how I felt, it protected me from sexual predators. So that's one of many reasons why a person might choose to not lose their excess body fat, and that is totally fine. So for just anyone who's listening who might be unaware of why the heck would you not want to compel each and every person you work with to lose all the fat, that is one of many reasons why. And that's the only one that I have personal experience to speak to, so that's the only one that I'll mention for now. Those of you who are in this position, you know what it is, and I'm not going to grill you on it. I'm not going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you what your goals are, in fact, to do, whether that is getting stronger, improving your cardiovascular system, getting better sleep at night, reducing stress. There's all kinds of good reasons to get into fitness, and fat loss is one of the many reasons. And I'm going to talk about people on a fat loss journey right now. So if you are on a fat loss journey, if you're saying, yes, I absolutely am trying to lose 20, 30, 50, 100, couple of 100 pounds, whatever it is, you are going to go through a lot of weird physical states along the way. I was like looking at magazines like in the checkout lanes, like the covers of like different fitness magazines and Weight Watchers and all those kinds of stuff. And it's funny to me because a lot of these magazines, like Runner's Magazine, for example, will often not feature runners but bodybuilders so that they have that cut, chiseled, muscular look. There's obviously so much photoshopping going on, but one of the ones that jumps out in my mind, I can't say for sure which magazine it was. It was some kind of, I want to say like a Weight Watchers kind of magazine, but I don't know if that was the one. In any case, it featured this before and after picture of this woman who had gone through a really big transformation before and after. She'd lost, 100 pounds or something. And I was looking at her after picture and I'm like, why does it look so odd? Why does it look odd? I mean, did she have a tummy tuck? Like, because when you lose that much weight, you're going to have a lot of excess skin. You're going to have a lot of sag. That's just normal, right? Especially early on. Some of that tightens up over time, especially if you're keeping hydrated, paying attention to your nutrition, yada, yada. But then I realized that they had done so much blurring of the stretch marks and of the sag on her belly that they had erased her belly button. So that's what looked weird about the before and after this. They had completely erased her belly button, making this before and after picture. So before and after pictures are a huge culprit in the disconnect that we sometimes feel when we're going through a weight loss journey. And I so appreciate those brave souls who are willing to post their journey and their before and afters and all those bits and pieces through all of the ugly parts, right? Your body's beautiful. Your body's beautiful at every stage of the way. It's amazing. But your body's also super ugly, right? Like everybody has this duality about themselves, right? We can be ugly and pretty in the same day, in the same package, and how we view ourselves and how other people view us. Like there's so much weirdness. It's like being in a dream, like in a living dream, right? Like things can kind of change from beautiful to ugly before our eyes. Everything when it comes to like photographs and video it's all lighting and magic and how we're posing. Same thing with like bodybuilding competitions. There's so many little subtleties that go into it. So it's not uncommon for people who are going through that fat loss journey to feel like really like, oh my gosh, this is not what I signed up for. I wanted to get more beautiful. I wanted to get more sexy. What is going on with all of this? In fact, I had many years ago now, one client who was one of these people, like you get the sense that she would never leave the house without full makeup. Like she was very put together, like fashion, like gorgeous. And she was on a weight loss journey. She had, I want to say 80 pounds, 60 to 80 pounds that she was trying to lose. So, a good little chunk. And she was doing great. I mean, great. She was on point with her meal plan, making it to all the workouts. She was steadily losing weight at about a rate of, 2 pounds per week, or a little bit more than that sometimes. And we were 20 pounds down. She was 20 pounds down in her weight loss journey, between 20 and 30. And I remember her coming up to me, absolutely distraught, mascara running. And she says, Melanie, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. And I said, oh my gosh, what? What happened? You can't do what anymore? She says, look at me, Melanie, I'm melting. and she's like, my cheeks, my neck, like everything's just sagging. I feel like I'm like a melting waxworks. And I was like, oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know. And that feeling that she was feeling was legitimate. And what we ended up doing at that point was going on a maintenance plan, slowing down, stopping the weight loss. Even though she was making steady progress toward her original goal, she felt like she didn't look, and this is one of the really common things that can be very disconcerting with weight loss, even if it's a positive transition. A lot of times we lose weight in the face first. Either weight comes back on or goes off first, and it can change the look of the face drastically. And that's where people have the most interaction, right here. And I go through this as well. Currently, I am overweight, and I like the way my face looks right now. I feel filled out. When I get to a more athletic weight, I can appreciate the feeling of my overall body at that weight, but I do feel like really kind of like sucked in and like skeleton, right? Because I lose from the top down. So she was one of these people. She was losing weight in her face. She, she obviously spent enough time in the mirror doing her makeup and this kind of thing, where she was very self-aware of her image and very, very distraught when that image started shifting. And especially with a little bit of the deflated thing that can sometimes happen, especially with rapid fat loss, right? With slower fat loss, not as big of an issue, but with rapid fat loss, you are going to go through stages of things just sagging, of the bottom of the arm sagging. That's another really common one. So knowing that, number one, and being mentally prepared for it is super important, in my opinion. It's something I don't think a lot of coaches want to talk about, because they are just trying to get you motivated for that end result. And yes, if we can get there, if we can get through that discomfort of that liquid caterpillar phase that we go through, make it to the other side of our goal. And the faster we do that, the faster we can let like the skin and everything kind of retract and tone up. But that the skin will always be behind a bit from everything else you're doing. One of the very common questions I get from somebody who had just gone through a rapid fat loss transition, they're like, will this skin on my belly, on my fupa, will that ever go? Will that, like, should I get plastic surgery? Should I get it removed? Same thing with the underarms. In general, my recommendation for people is like, wait a year. Try to maintain your current body fat percentage, your current new body fat percentage that you just achieved. Maintain it for a year, for 12 months. Come to peace with yourself the way you currently are, and just maintain for a year. And if after a year you are either A, not at peace with yourself, or B, it didn't shrink up, and become what you wanted it to be, then, yeah, I mean, what you do with your body at that point, that's a very personal decision, whether somebody's going to get, plastic surgery or not. I'm almost embarrassed to say how I used to be very, very opinionated against plastic surgery, and certain things do still weird me out, but you know what? I don't have to get it. Like, I am 100% pro body autonomy. Like, I have a tattoo. I like the way piercings look on certain people, that kind of stuff. You know, we all have aesthetic opinions when it comes to body modification, and plastic surgery is another form of body modification, just like tattoos, just like ear piercings, just like dyeing your hair, okay? Is it more extreme? Yeah, of course. It comes with a lot more risks too. But again, very personal decision. Just be aware that going into a big fitness journey, you are going to go through these various stages, and yeah, and to be prepared for that and be at peace with yourself. So yeah, number one, for anybody, you are right now, if this is what you're trying to be, you are a fitness person. Not you're trying to be, not you're going to be, you are right now. And be prepared for all of the weirdness along the way, and appreciate all the things you didn't expect along the way. I think this is one of the things that really saves people during their fitness journey and keeps them making progress forward. And one of the main reasons why I highly recommend doing a journal with small wins, okay? Because you are going to, yes, especially if it's an aesthetic thing, your body won't always cooperate with you on the aesthetics, and it's going to be a messy, slow process. But if you can track things like your resting heart rate and notice improvements in your resting heart rate, if you can track things like your strength gains, your ability to lift a certain amount of weight, or your ability to do a certain number of reps within a given time frame, the density of your training, all of these things, tracking progress on all of these things will allow you to ultimately appreciate the process and the journey much, much more, right? The ease with which you get in and out of your car, the ease with which you are able to sprint, just all these different things, whatever you're working on. Definitely track as many metrics as make sense for you and your goals, and that is the purpose of tracking also, by the way. So that I think we'll talk about tracking metrics a little bit as a way to end this discussion on mindset, because this is one of the hardest things for people to do, especially at the beginning. So let's say you've taken that leap and you said, I am a fitness person, and yes, I want to lose all the excess body fat on myself. Now there comes a really hard part for a lot of people, and that is taking the before pictures, taking the before measurements, and the before weight on the scale. Now obviously if our fitness journey involves other things like cardio or weightlifting, we'll want to track other things like resting heart rate and lifting, but the real hard one for a lot of people is taking stock image-wise of current self. So I'm going to give you some tips for that. Number one, don't actually look at your before or after pictures. Don't ruminate on them too much. When you take your before pictures, number one, make note of how your lighting is, and make sure you use the same lighting and the same setup when you do your afters, okay? Same clothing, same lighting, same setup, same. Clothing, lighting, all of these things have a profound impact on what your before and afters look like. I do recommend taking your before and afters in as skimpy a clothing as you personally are comfortable with. And oftentimes I recommend taking a couple of sets. One in clothing that you are comfortable in posting on social media, because having that positive reinforcement, if you do have a social network that supports you, can be really, really wonderful, right? So a set of pictures that you're comfortable sharing with other people or showing other people, and then a set just for yourself where you're nude or almost nude, so that you personally can see the difference. In all the little nuanced ways your body will change over the course of your fitness journey. So I do recommend taking 2 sets of before pictures, 2 sets of after pictures. I recommend not taking pictures more than, take them at least 6 weeks apart, right? You're not going to see much difference from week to week. Although I have seen some really cool, like for people who take them every single week, and I've done that before myself, but you're not going to see a big difference one week to the next. You're going to see, think 6-week increments in general for a fat loss journey. So make sure you have same clothes, same lighting, and take the pictures, and make note of how you set them up and what lighting and what clothes you wore, but don't look at them. Just don't, right? Put them away, file file them somewhere, put them in a file somewhere, and don't look at them. And then 6 weeks later, when you take your after pictures, again, put them in the same file, and then give yourself 5 minutes to look at them side by side. Just 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes to notice differences and how everything's looking, and that way you can make good decisions for yourself. And if you're checking in with your coach, make sure you look at them with your coach so you can make decisions for yourself, like, okay, I like where this is going, but I would really like to tone up my arms more, that kind of thing. So you know where to push your training next. Or, oh my gosh, that is more fat than I wanted to lose, let's plateau for a while. Whatever it is, you want to see those side by sides, those before and afters, but don't spend more than 5 minutes looking at them. You're going to drive yourself nuts. So a lot of times people get really worked up about getting those before pictures. So that is my advice for you if you're in this camp. Likewise, weight on the scale. Remember that weight on the scale can fluctuate like 8 pounds in a day. So weight on the scale, we're looking for an average trend over time. If you're taking your weight just once per week, this can be really hard to see because, if, for example, so it can be a real emotional roller coaster. If you say, okay, I want to lose like on average of 2 pounds each week, that's a good average weight of fat loss, and you see, oh, I'm going down this week, yay, I went down 5 pounds this week, oh my gosh, I'm so awesome, and you attach all that emotion to your progress on the scale, and then the next week you're like up 2 pounds from when you started, you're like, the fuck, like, I'm so horrible, like, I thought I was doing everything right, and obviously I'm doing everything. Calm down. Number one, remember, you can fluctuate 8 pounds in a day just on water retention, just on different like cycles that your body goes through. So in general, for people who are going to be tracking over time, I do recommend a daily weigh-in, same time of day, same exact time of day, same amount of clothes on, same, and you're still going to see fluctuations. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to see fluctuations, but then you put it on a graph, and there's apps that you can graph it on, or you can graph it on just a piece of graph paper. And what you're going to see is you're going to see those fluctuations, but over time it's going to drop down if you're doing everything right, And then you can even see fun stuff like, oh, I ate this really salty meal and my weight spiked up like 10 pounds the next day. Obviously I was having some inflammation response. So you can kind of get a vibe for how your body reacts to different foods. Maybe you notice every time you eat, like, I don't know, tomatoes, you get a little spike. Maybe you're having a little, like, we got to be able to observe it as objectively as we would observe other things that we were tracking. Likewise, so we have the weight on the scale. If you're on a fat loss journey, I always highly recommend that you do also take circumference measurements, because weight on the scale is not perfect, and neither are circumference measurements. You take the tape measure, you put it around your waist, maybe around your arms, a couple of different points that you want to track, and that will give you a sense too of how much fat you're losing. Though the tape measure fat you're trying to lose, like maybe you're only trying to lose like 5 to 10 pounds, you're already pretty close to your goal weight. If you're doing strength training as a person who only has 5 or 10 pounds to lose, you may increase your weight on the scale but decrease the circumference inches on your waist, because fat, pound for pound, takes up more volume, more space than muscle. Okay, muscle is more dense. So if we're gaining muscle and losing fat, we would be able to see that in circumference measurements and your before and afters, but we might see the opposite data than we're expecting on the scale. So again, the scale can be unreliable for those reasons also. So that's why I recommend, if you're on a fat loss journey, do those before and afters, do the weight on the scale, and do the circumference measurements as well. And remember, it's not a value judgment on you as a person. Everybody fluctuates. There are so many people who are way heavier and have way more fat than they want to have. So you're not alone, right? This is, I don't, and a lot of this comes back to this concept of fat people being weak and not having enough willpower and all this bullshit. Listen, we didn't get to the of us. Willpower is not a thing. It's not a virtue that humans have when it comes to eating. Okay? Your body and your natural biological responses will take over and run wild, especially with a lot of the food environments that we currently have in our society. So if you're overweight, yeah, that's your body doing what it. So don't feel bad about that. That's normal. Like if you weren't doing that, some other problem would happen, right? So without getting too into the details of the biology, don't feel bad about being fat if you're fat right now. If you're trying to lose fat, you can totally do that, but willpower is not a part of that. Don't ever try to willpower your way through it, and don't associate your overweight. That's not what it means at all. And anybody who says otherwise is full of shit. And yeah. I guess I'll leave it there. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this wild rant of mindset stuff. But yes, you are a beautiful butterfly, or you will be. You might be a messy cocoon full of ooze right now, but that's okay. You might be a cat. Please go ahead and come to you in your home via the power of the internet. We do all Zoom private classes for our strength and our nutrition and our cardio and flexibility classes. We have over 70 class times per month to choose from. We're a bunch of goofballs, and we're awesome people. So yes, become a member of the Nerd Gym, and ask me questions on Patreon. Drop them in the comments if you're watching this video on YouTube or Facebook or on Instagram, all the places. And I will talk to you next time. Have an awesome day. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.